ครับตอนนี้เราก็อยู่กับ Student Counselor นะครับซึ่ง Student Counselor นะครับเขาก็เป็นเกี่ยวกับคล้ายๆที่ปรึกษาของนักเรียนนะครับของโรงเรียนเดี๋ยวเราก็จะมาถามเขากันว่าหน้าที่ของเขาเป็นยังไงบ้างนะครับ Good morning.
Good morning.
So I would like to ask you what is Student Counselor?
Okay, so my title here at Pleasant Grove High School is Guidance Counselor, and we have several different roles here at the school. A popular saying that we have is we wear many different hats, right? So there are a lot of responsibilities and a lot of different things that we do. So if I'm wearing my guidance hat, I'm a guidance counselor, right? So I'm talking to students about their future and I'm giving them advice about certain scholarships that are available, or we talk about colleges a lot. We help them to make decisions about college. Also, we definitely, one of our big responsibilities with our students here is to make sure that they have enough credit to graduate. And so we work with students that way. If I'm wearing my counseling hat, that is one of the times when I would be counseling with a student who is maybe in an emotional crisis. Students here at the high school at any time during the day, it doesn't really matter what time. If they are
the bell ring.
There's the bell. If a student is having an emotional issue and they need somebody to talk to, that's one of the reasons we're here at the school as well. So we have anytime during the day if a student needs somebody to talk to, or if they need some help, or if they're having, like I said, a crisis, then they can come in and see us at any time. And those would probably take precedence over other things. And so we try to make sure that we are available to them. There are times when it's hard to see us, so we do have help from a social worker here at the school as well. Sometimes I wear a mediator hat, and that's when I'm helping the students kind of talk to their teachers or help them to figure out how to make up credit where they failed a class, or they haven't gotten enough credit in a certain area. So then I get a chance to talk to the teachers on their behalf sometimes. Sometimes it's better for the student to go talk to the teacher themselves, but there are times when they need an advocate, I guess. And that is actually the hat that I wear all the time, is my advocate hat, because my main purpose here at the school is to be helpful to the student. So my main purpose is to help a student in any way that they need help. And so whether that is in a personal crisis or whether it is about colleges or scholarships or things like that I'm here to make sure that hopefully we do what's best for the student. That's my...
So it's like mostly about the life in school, like studying like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and just helping. I'm here, that's mostly my role, is to help.
And I heard that you get an advice to the student who have the problem in their life, like pregnant something.
Sometimes that doesn't. That's happened a few times. It's not a really common thing, but we do. We have that responsibility also to help the student to get the help that they need. Sometimes here at the school we don't have every resource for every situation or every issue, but we usually will be able to find the help the student find the help that they need for certain things.
Okay, so I have another question. So, how when the first day of the student, the school start, and where can they find a student counselor room? What's the point of setting? I walk there and say, oh, I know that it's student counselor room.
Well, we here at the school we're very lucky because our counseling office is in a very conspicuous area of the school, and so most of the time we try to show our new students around the school. And in our office here in the counseling office, we have 6 counselors, and we have 2 secretaries, and we have student aides. So we have students that are very helpful with our new students. When we have a new student, after we've created a schedule for them and after we've gotten them all set up with classes, then we have our student aides actually take them around the school to show them where everything is. And so they start out here at the counseling office. And we are very very fortunate here at the school that our counseling office is in a very easy to see place. And so basically once you walk in the school, you almost instantly know where to find us.
And like when can the student come talk to you, like in the morning or lunchtime or after school or?
Yes, our ideal times are to have our students come talk to us, like you said, during. There's the bell again.
I'm late now, but that's okay.
That's okay. I can give you to get into class. Like you said, our best times to have a student just drop in and see us for just random things would be before school, like you said, after lunch or during lunch and after school. We like our students to be in class, so it's not. Sometimes we have to have you come out of class so that we can talk to you about certain things. But most of the time, we like to have you go to class, and then if you need us, you come during those times when you're not supposed to be in a class. So we do make sure that we get here about a half an hour before school starts, and we get here, and we're here also after school for another half an hour after the bell rings, and then we're also here during lunch. So we counselors, we actually take our own lunch hour after the students' lunch hour, so that we can be available to them, and so that's why that's a good time for you. And sorry, the bell. That's a bad time. Yeah, but sometimes sorry about that. But sometimes we actually do call a student out of class. If we need to talk to them, sometimes we actually have a student or a teacher will bring a student to us, and there are times when a student just in the middle of class is having a problem.
Good morning, Pleasant Grove High School. This is Dalton with your morning announcement.
Sorry, they just have their morning announcement, so we're gonna continue again. So, what we just talking about?
About when we are available to the students.
Did we answer?
So I think that I was in the middle of saying how
okay.
Sometimes if a student is in the middle of a class and they are actually having some kind of an emotional crisis, they will ask their teacher if it's okay to come and see us, and then usually the teacher will call us and see if we're available for them, or they will call us and let us know that the student needs a counselor, and so we will let them come in the middle of class if that is the case.
Okay. And so the school is start already, and then they go to the class and they register, and they feel like it's not for them. What can they do like that?
So we have our policy about changing classes is a little bit strict. We actually allow a 2-week period before school even starts for a student to come see us to change out of a class that they are not interested in. If it's a core subject like math or an English class, a language arts, I guess we call it language arts or English, or say like a history class or a science class, sometimes kids are in the wrong level, or sometimes they're struggling too much, and we need to make sure that they're in the correct class, right? So we will allow about 2 to 3 weeks for that, for us to figure that out. Sometimes it takes a while for a student to realize that's the wrong class for them, that they're just in over their head with a really difficult chemistry class or something. So they come see us, and we make sure that they're in a science class that they can handle. And we're very specific about math. We try to make sure that the math level that the student is in is a good fit for them, right? But students are required to reach a certain level of math before they can graduate. So sometimes even if the math level that they're in is too difficult for them, they still have to be in there. So we find other ways for them to handle it. So we have tutors here at the school. We have certain classes after school that they can go to. So we do have a lot of help that way too.
Okay. So the last question is so they prefer for that class and they're gonna register that class, but the class is full. What can they do?
If a class is full, most of the time a student will have to choose a different class. We have certain classes, like I said, the core classes, if those classes are already full, but we have a new student arrive at the school or something like that, they are still required to take those core classes. So most of the time we will have to find a teacher that doesn't have as large of a class, and we will put that new student in their class so that we can keep the numbers as even as possible, so that the teachers are not overtaxed with too many students in one classroom and not enough students in another classroom. So that happens sometimes. There are times when a teacher will allow a student into their classroom even though the class is already to the maximum number. So we counselors will talk to the teacher and see if there is room for a student. Sometimes the classes that are filled, we just have to make other choices, you know, because we only have so much room, right? And we have to make sure that the rooms are safe, and we have to make sure that there's enough. If we get too many students in one classroom, it's difficult to manage the class and keep order. And so we don't want classes so large that it's too hard to keep order. And so we have to be careful about that sometimes.
Oh, and I just thought about one more question. So my friends, I saw them like they have like 1 degree, like 2 semester degree, but then they finish the class like the first semester, and the second semester they want to change the class. So what's about that? And are the first semester gonna count the degree or it's not count?
Oh yeah, well the first semester will count. Whatever class a student takes in that first semester, they will still get a half a credit as long as they pass the class, right? And so if a student, some classes we have here are only 1 semester classes, right? So that class will end and a new class begins when the new semester begins. But sometimes the students are supposed to be in a class for a whole year. And that doesn't always happen. A lot of times a student doesn't necessarily need the full credit. So if they want to get out of a class at the semester, we do also have a period of time right before second semester begins where we also allow students to come in and make the changes for the second semester. And sometimes students will want to get out of their year-long classes. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes a student has a new class beginning and they've changed their mind about it because they've had the whole summer to think about it. Most of our students have already registered already for next year, and we're at the end of March. And so they've had all summer to think about it and all of the first semester of next year to think about that class. So if they decide they don't want it, they do have a chance to come in and talk to us and make a change. Yes.
And can they change the class like between the term, but if
we allow that in kind of, those are more emergency situations because the classes we have here at the school, they're only half credit or full credit, right? So, but we have, our year is divided up into 4 terms, and so the first semester is 2 terms, and the second semester is 2 terms. So classes that are just, like if a student wants to get out of a class at a term, it means that the class that they would get into is already half over. And so then they would enter a class behind, or, you know, and then they would have actually work to get caught up to where the class is at that point. And so we try to avoid doing term changes, but we can do that if we have to. Sometimes a student really does need that.
But it's kind of hard for the student to catch up the work, right?
Sometimes it is. It depends on the class, but most of the time it is because the class is already half over and they're already working on something, and so it's hard to enter a class that's already either half over or had a term, you know, the first term over. Because if it's a year-long class and they enter after, say, the first quarter, they enter a year-long class at the second quarter, they will be behind, but that class isn't quite half over because it's only a quarter over. So they wouldn't be as behind. I'm sorry, my eye chilled.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be as behind. But it's those, like I said, those are kind of situations where it's more an emergency to get a student out of a class and move them to somewhere else. But it does happen, and we do allow it. We just try to avoid it.
And sorry, I just
You don't need to
Okay.
apologize. You're fine.
So when they like when they come to America, do they have like to look on do you have the schedule like when they're gonna register when the school start, and do they have to look at the paper like the schedule of the teachers and select like look at the subjects and the time like the period, or do you just give you a list of the subject that you want the class and just give it to you and you can schedule the time?
Mostly with a student that comes from another country, we will create a schedule for them. We have we have the papers that you could look at, but since you're new to our country and to our school, you don't really know any of our teachers, and so we counselors will create a schedule for you. You just need to tell us what classes that you want, and we do our best to find you those classes. Sometimes they would be full or things like that, and we would have to choose something different. But most of the time, the classes that are like our exchange students are required to take, those are the core classes. And so we will find those for you, and then you get to select the elective credits that you get to choose. So if that class has got room, then that's great, and you have that opportunity to take that class. But we will create a schedule for our students that come from other countries, because you don't know how, right? And a lot of our new students, in fact, are our younger students that come to the high school from the younger grades. They a lot of times need help with their schedules as well, because they don't know our teachers, and they don't know they know the registration procedure, but they don't know a lot about our school yet because they're coming from another school. And so we try to help those students as well.
And the student, like the exchange student from the foreign country, and they are like senior, and can they graduate from here, like get the credit from here?
A foreign exchange student that wants to graduate from here, if you came here as a senior, it would be very difficult. Our school district requires 28 credits to graduate, so there are certain credits that are required by law for a student to obtain a diploma here from our school district. And so most of our students that come from foreign countries have not had the language arts classes that they need, and they've not had the history classes that they need. And so there have been times that I've had a student that was not an exchange student even. He moved here. I've had multiple students move here from other countries their senior year.
Oh.
And it's difficult, but I've seen students actually do it. But they can't have all the classes that they need in their schedule, because you can only earn 8 credits in your schedule per year. And so if we have a student that needs additional credit in order to get the diploma from here, they would have to use outside sources like online classes, or we have what we call packets, those are also internet classes, but they're in our school district. It's a school that's an internet school in our school district. So you'd use that, or online classes, or we have some students have time to go to summer school as well and get some credit that way.
And like just remember, I look on the paper and they have like AP class and just normal class. What is AP class?
An AP class AP stands for Advanced Placement. So an AP class it's a class where a student at the end of the year will be able to take a test that will give them college credit. So when a student is here at the school in an AP class, the curriculum is a little bit more rigorous than a normal class. And then at the end of the school year, they take the AP test, the Advanced Placement test, and if they score a 3 or a 4 or a 5 on that test, then they can get college credit for taking the class in high school.
Also, they don't have to take a class in
College.
Yes.
Certain colleges will allow those classes to count for that credit in college.
And sometimes the student not get a good grade, so what can they do? Like they have an A for or something?
That's not always possible. We expect the students to work throughout the entire quarter to earn the A grade. There are times when the student will procrastinate, and excuse me, a student that wants to raise their grade from, say, a B to an A would need to talk to the teacher and find out if the teacher is willing to allow that student to do additional work or turn in assignments that they had not turned in earlier, that they missed. Sometimes the teacher will allow that and sometimes they won't. That is definitely the teacher's choice. But I've seen many teachers that will allow a student to do homework that they missed and raise that grade.
So it's gonna be during the advisory, like after the third period, during lunchtime, right?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes that's what advisory is for. Advisory is mostly for students that are failing the class. It's to help them figure out why and work on that. Students that are receiving a B and that they just want to raise their grade to an A, their advisory is not really designed for that. But that's mostly you would need to talk to the teacher, or you could go to, like I was saying earlier, we have math labs after school where a student can go get help. A lot of times it's a math class that students struggle in, and so if they wanted to raise their grade from a B to an A in a math class, they would have a lot of help that way. But English classes, we don't have a lot of additional help outside of class, but the English teachers are very good to work with, and so the students can go to the English teachers and find out specifically what the teacher would want them to do.
I think that's all my questions.
Okay.
So
Well, I
thank
hope
you
that
so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
I so appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
ครับยังไงปอก็ขอฝากเนื้อฝากตัวไว้อีกคลิปหนึ่งนะครับ ถ้าใครชอบก็กดไลค์กด Subscribe หรือว่ากดแชร์นะครับ เพื่อเป็นข้อมูลต่างๆให้นักเรียนแลกเปลี่ยนรุ่นต่อไปนะครับ ยังไงก็ถ้าสมมติใครมีข้อสงสัยหรืออยากสอบถามนะครับ ก็ติดต่อมาได้ที่อยู่ทางด้านล่างนี้เลยนะครับ เป็น Twitter กับ Facebook ปอเองนะครับ ยังไงก็เจอกันใหม่คลิปหน้านะครับ สวัสดีครับบ๊ายบาย